Bhagavato Vrindavan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go Premanandi, Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue reading from Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhav, if we can pass the book. Hare Krishna. Sranya's on the course right now.
Yes.
Tomorrow we have to meet at a time when you're free.
Okay.
I don't know what time she's free, so I can't suggest anything.
In the morning.
In the morning? Thank you, my friend. I don't know where we... last time we finished off the section on the holy name, and we did servings to Shastras, the great drum, of course that's about book publications, printing, service to Shastra we did, we went through it, of course. Let's see what we do today. We did the seer and the seen in Mayapur, I think, wasn't it? We covered that chapter in Mayapur. That was foundation of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's basic emphasis of his philosophy was founded on a certain premise, and the chapter dealing with the seer and the seen, Drishya, Drishta, Darshan, was practically, everything's based upon that, of understanding who is the seer and what is to be seen. Mahaprasad, very interesting chapter for everybody. Ekadashi, health issues, different aspects which Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, of course nothing is by remotely covering everything, but whatever relevant substance was available, is eternal form and internal ecstasy. And let's see, what should we do? At least if we're reading from this volume today, on tour, no, it's rather a long chapter. The Gaudiya Math is a long chapter. What's this one? Exoteric matters. There are the two subject matters, esoteric, exoteric. Exoteric is what we perceive with our senses. The behavior, the dress, the activity, the sadhana, externally. And the esoteric, of course, is the internal, which may or may not be perceivable. It may be, say, witnessed to a certain extent by the externals, but not always. We sometimes see that a great personality does not display his internal, his manobishta, his internal mood. He does not reveal it by his externals. Usually they're interrelated. but not always. Oftentimes a person may be externally appearing to be very serious and austere, chanting a lot of rounds, learned it in the Shastra, but internally they may have ulterior motives. They may not be, well, in simple terms, practicing what they preach. No, they're internally practicing, let's say. There's the two kinds of practice. They're external show, but Prabhupada said the two should be one in reality. There should be inner motivation, and it should become other than exactly what externally is being manifested. Otherwise, that's called duplicity. So, as we heard the other day, simplicity is the hallmark of a Vaishnava. And this simplicity is this straightforwardness, this honesty, that, we're not hiding our inner motives or whatever, as such. So that is the nature of a Vaishnava. In and out is the same, basic. What you see outside is also within. Simple. Person is simple, not duplicitous or hypocritical. We heard that the other day. The exoteric anyone can do. You can put tilak on, you can put your neck beads on, you can have your dhoti and saris, and you can look like, I'm a Vaishnava, Vaishnavi. You may even quote numerous verses, but you may be proud or ulterior motivated. So that's the other side of it. One is not always displaying it. You say, sometimes we see great Vaishnavas misunderstood. Babajis. You can bring the box down. There's 2 boxes up there. Sometimes, from the ordinary point of view, a Babaji, for instance, would be crazy in general. Not always, but oftentimes they're eccentric from the material perspective. And even amongst Vaishnavas, they cannot understand. Misjudgments are there amongst devotees about the spiritual adhikar of others. Because it depends a lot how it affects our conditioning, in terms of, in many cases, satisfying our conditioning rather than changing it. A Vaishnava changes our conditioning. He doesn't just, serve it or satisfy it. From a material point of view, people, in general, they look to a sadhu or spiritual person as someone who can satisfy me, give me blessings, and instructions that will, make me feel better, good for my health, or good for my wealth, or good for my material life, this life or the next. And they judge the sadhu according to that level of reciprocation. Well, the real sadhu, that's not their business. It certainly wasn't the business of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj to pamper people's mundane desires. No pure devotee. They may, up to a point, just to, let's say, encourage the personality to connect or to start their spiritual journey. Sometimes it may be naturally with a child. One will, well, that was really nice, even though it may not have been very nice what the child did. Very drawing. They're doing some drawing. A 3-year-old child trying to do a painting. It looks from our perspective, absolutely stupid, right? Doesn't have any. From their point of view, of course, it has meaning, but from our point of view, it looks ridiculous. Some blobs of paint, and there they're saying, "This is you, and this is Mummy, and this is our house." It looks some sticks and some blobs. But what do you say?
Wow.
That's wonderful. Well, it is wonderful in one sense, but in another sense, it's not exactly. Of course, there's a room for everything, but it's not. Relatively, it's not exactly wonderful. But for a child, you will encourage them. If you say that's ridiculous, I've never seen such an awful drawing in my life. What the heck are you doing? That's not me. Then the child will be very upset, right? Cry and cry, and never want to draw again for the rest of its life. Scared. Absolutely. And many times this is what happens. The child becomes traumatized in this way, and for the rest of its life is afraid of this, afraid of that. You see this with animals too, if they get burnt by something, they're always afraid of fire, or even the red color that's represented by fire terrifies them. And they also have the same emotion, and children especially, it's kind of like it's always there in their psychology throughout life. So to encourage sometimes the pure devote, oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That was amazing. How did you do that? But it was like, it wasn't really amazing. Probably in London one time with one young devotee, initiated, 12 years old boy, he was initiated with Prabhupada. And his father was also initiated. The whole family were initiated by Prabhupada. He wanted to cook one day for Srila Prabhupada because he watched his mother and helped his mother, who was an excellent cook, many times, but he wasn't so experienced. But he wanted to cook, and he really pushed it. And the Prabhupada's servant agreed and told him what to do, and then left him to it. And then when the lunch came for Prabhupada, the plate came in, and Prabhupada's servant brought the plate in. Prabhupada tasted the dal, it was uncooked. Dal was still hard. The rice also, sabji was very salty or something. And the chapatis were burned or something. Everything was wrong. This didn't happen very often. Nothing was what it's meant to be. Prabhupada called his servant and said, "What is this?" Well, Srila Prabhupada, I didn't cook today. You didn't cook today. Who cooked? And then Prabhupada said, and the servant said who it was. Call him in right now. Call him into my room. So the servant was thinking, oh my God, they're going to get a real blasting. The boy came in, and Prabhupada said, did you cook lunch today? And he said, yes, Srila Prabhupada. Very, very nice. Thank you so much. Then he called his servant and said, you rascal, you nonsense. This is all your fault. You see? If he blasted that boy, the boy would have been traumatized for life. Prabhupada knew how to deal, to encourage. And he knew his servant needed chastising because he was responsible to make sure the lunch was done properly. And he didn't check on it. He just left it to him. And we often do that. Clean the room. You'll just leave it to a new guest. They have no idea how to clean the room. Then you chastise them afterwards for not cleaning it properly. Sometimes that happens, or a new devotee. It takes time, That's very nice. Let's see how we can do it even better. You can say something like that also. That's really nice, wonderful. But let's see, maybe together we can do it even more wonderfully. Ways of encouraging devotees. So, Guru, Acharyas, they sometimes do that, but generally speaking, they don't pamper the material intentions. That's not pampering, that's encouraging spiritual intentions. Encouraging a person to do things better. So, okay. I don't know what we'll read today. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshura Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapata Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Jatam Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Tanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishubhanu Tute Devi Namani Hari Priya Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Yevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What would you like to hear? Eligibility through Harinam or topics of Radhakund? What? Pardon? Harinam? Okay, so I'll do both at once. I'll speak simultaneously about Harinam there and Radhakund over here, okay? If you want Radhakund, come over here. If you want Harinam, go over there. Harinam on Radhakund. Well, that's a good way of fusing the two. Well, we'll start with, as it's short, we'll go over Radhakund. Since we're here, and some of you went today to Radhakund, I believe. Who went today to Radhakund? 4 or 5 devotees. And maybe you took bath in Radhakund? You did? Oh.
Not full body bath, but
You just put your head in?
yeah,
Just the water, just took 3 buckets of water.
3 double hands.
No, you're very enthusiastic. Whether it's a double hand, a bucket, or a drop, it doesn't matter. But anyway, the more the merrier, you could say. Topics of Radha Kund. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj Ki Jai. In his Upadeshamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami has ascertained that within the hallowed Braj Mandal, do you understand what that means? He's how to say, ascertained. Come to the conclusion. Come to the conclusion. Concluded. He's concluded that within the hallowed, or the hallowed be thy name, the most glorious place, Braj Mandal, the most sacred place is Govardhan. And especially Radhakund. Srila Saraswati Thakur regarded these as his supreme objects of worship. In other words, Govardhan, Radhakund, they're his supreme objects of worship. And he often expressed profound veneration for them, extreme respect, you can't describe it, for these places, absolute respect. He revealed Radhakund at Chaitanya Mat. Now Chaitanya Mat is in Mayapur. If you've been to the Chaitanya Mat in Mayapur, you will have seen Radhakund, Shyamakund, Govardhan Hill. He created the Dham, or revealed the Dham. He didn't create it, it's already there. He revealed it there in Chaitanya Mat, Prajapatana in Mayapur. And we see a similar thing, as we've mentioned, in Govardhan Eco Village in Maharashtra. A little bit more upbeat in terms of, you could say, arrangements, but the same principle is there. What happened? Pardon? Oh, only water. That's a relief. He considered a particular pond. If you've been to Jagannath Puri, maybe 20 kilometers from Puri or something, is this too cold, the aircon? Everyone's sneezing and coughing and blowing their noses. And
Just a little bit.
huh? Is it cold? Some say no.
Maybe it's cold there, but
Is it cold?
for us it's okay.
Is it cold?
My side is okay.
Is it cold? You sure?
I think it's the today that it was very hot and dusty.
It's quite possible that you get that in the throat and nose and nasals and stuff. Get clogged up a little bit. Take a deep breath, if you can do one. Helps. So, where were we? Thank you. If you've been to Jagannath Puri, you went to Jagannath Puri. If you go to Jagannath Puri, there's around about 20 kilometers or maybe a little more from Puri is a place called Alalanath. And some of you have been there. Who's been there? You must have been there. You were there, Rupa? We didn't go there. No. Not to Alalanath anyway. You went to, you may remember Jagannath Puri, but not. We didn't go anywhere near Alalanath. It's about 20, 30 kilometers from Puri. So that place, he said, was non-different. There's a pond there which he said is non-different than Radhakund. So Radhakund manifests. We tend to look at it as a geographical place. Just like Braj, we say, what is it, 86 square miles or something, I can't remember, whatever it is. We tend to geographically try to measure things. Spirit's not like that. The pastimes of the Lord and His domain are not measurable from the Prakat platform, or the manifest past platform. I'll say, not exactly terminology correct, but from the material platform they are not, we're seeing it, you could say like a tip of an iceberg almost. It's an iceberg, but it's not the entirety by any means. You're only seeing a little bit. So we see a little bit. The Lord reveals that which is relevant, that which is, He reveals everything, but according to our surrender. So for most of us, we have limited. So therefore, certain locales are a little bit like an embassy or something of that domain or that transcendental plane. So these are a few of them, and Chaitanya Mat there in Rajapatana and in Alalanath, and of course in Vrindavan and Govardhan. He once expressed a desire to reside eternally in Govardhan. He said, "I am not fit to live at Radhakund. I shall stay in a less exalted position. My gurus, Srila Gaura Das Babaji, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur and others eternally serve at Radhakund. I shall go serve them there, then return to a somewhat lower situation in Govardhan." I don't know if we're encouraged to do this, but if you were there maybe 3 or 4 days ago when Jayadvaita Maharaj was giving a talk, perhaps it was in Govardhan itself, or maybe it was in Vrindavan, I don't know. But he was talking about that book of Sridhar Maharaj, Prabhupada's godbrother. What was it? Following the Angels or something like that, I think it's called. And he said it was a very fascinating book and a very worthy book, because there we see Sridhar Maharaj taking us into the actual position of Vaishnava, and how we hold the devotees' dust of their feet always on our heads. We always see ourselves below the Vaishnavas, below everything practically. Anyway, I've not read it. I've seen it, but I never read it. So I can't comment more. But that humble mood, which is actually the visa to come to India. And we have to get visas. To go to Europe, Srivas Pandit has to get a visa, special visa. To go to Russia, we have to get a visa. If you're Russian, you don't need a visa to go to Russia. If you're a pure devotee, you're already in the spiritual world. You're a resident. You're a citizen of the spiritual realm. But for us, conditioned souls, we have to get the visa to enter the spiritual domain. So Prabhupada, one time when he was in Prayag Pharmacy, this is mentioned here in this volume actually, in Allahabad, one of his godbrothers, who would go by the name O.B.L. Kapoor, you may have heard of him, I've forgotten was it Adikeshava, his spiritual name? I think it was Adikeshava, I can't remember. But he would go by that name because he was a scholar, and people knew him. He was a professor type person, so he was well known. And sometimes Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj would continue to call his disciples by their famous, relatively famous names. So he came to see Prabhupada in his pharmacy. They were close, they were friends. And he said, Abhay Babu, can you give me some medicine which will deliver me from this world and give me Krishna prema. About the pharmacy. I was funny this morning. I was reading the report on Jayapataka Maharaj, which wasn't funny, but some of the comments were funny. One of them was obviously not learned in English, and he was said, you know, usually you pray to Nrsingadev, right? And he spelt it Nursing Dave. I'm praying to Nursing Dave. I thought that was really almost, meant to be that, because, he needs nursing. So he's praying to the God of the nursing. Nursing. Actually, he wrote exactly Nursing Dave. And he was definitely not by mistake, because his English was really broken. Nursing Dave. Nursing, Nursing Dave. Kind of almost prophetic. So, yeah. Where were we? Visas. That's right, to get, because Prabhupada was a pharmacist, and so he's asking, if you got that medicine? Prabhupada said, I don't have that medicine, but I have the formula. He said, you have the formula? Yes. He said, what's the formula? Give me the formula. And Prabhupada said, Trinada Pisa Nichena, Charod Pisa Ishna. This is the formula. For the love of God. Simple. It was a key verse in the Gaudiya Mass, along with Kirtaniya Siddhahari. There's another piece in the Chena. Similarly, he declared that an upper floor for the domicile of his gurus should be added to the single-story building at Braj Svananda Sukhada Kunja, that he would stay below, only for the purpose of attending them. He also instructed his disciples not to live independently at Radhakund. If they were to reside there, it should be only to serve their gurus at Braj Svananda Sukhada Kunj, which is the name of the ashram mat established there by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Radhakund. I don't know if you visited it. Those who went there today, whether you went there to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mat. You didn't go there. No, it's just 100 meters from the Kund. The sitting place where Lord Chaitanya was sitting. Where Lord Chaitanya was sitting. You went to Raghunath Das Goswami Samadhi. They're all the same taken out from wherever you go. Everything's the same. Everything's there. It's, they're all there. But there's one. It's not more than 100 meters behind Shamakund, just inside there. And that's where Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj also stayed to serve his guru. Although he wasn't personally manifested, he was still on the route of service to his guru. And he recommended his disciples likewise. You only go there to serve the guru. You don't go there to enjoy or to think you can become, just by bathing Radhakund, you'll immediately experience, prema or whatever, Mahabhava or something crazy. He also instructed, although Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati sometimes stayed at Radhakund, he rarely physically bathed there, but generally would offer dandavats to, circumambulate, and sprinkle upon his head a little water of this incomparably sacred pond. In footnote Sarati Jai Shri, the literature published about him, records that in 1922, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati fully bathed in Radhakund. Yet several of his disciples have stated that in later years he did not. Thus, his doing so in 1935 was clearly an exception. And that's generally the mood in Islam. We don't, there are statements, we read in the Nectar instruction about bathing in Radhakund. But the general principle is not to fully bathe in the Kund, but to take drops of water and offer one's respects. Just 3 drops is sufficient. More is no problem, but you don't need more. And that was the general mood. I know of no time, maybe I don't know, I don't say he didn't. I know of no time ever when Srila Prabhupada bathed in Radhakund. Actually, I don't know many times Prabhupada went to Radhakund, but obviously he went there a few times during his Guru Maharaj's physical presence. After that, I don't know if he must have gone there. 1971 he would have gone there. But 76, 77, he didn't go. I don't know about other years, I wasn't there. But generally Prabhupada didn't. And in 1976, which was historically, of course, set the scene for going to Radhakund. The devotees went in large quantity, I mean, probably not so large by modern numbers, but then a large, probably 400 of us went there. And mostly from America. Almost 99% white devotees, but maybe 6 Indian devotees. And because pretty much everybody bathed in Radhakund fully. But it became like a swimming pool. You know, a swimming pool? If you have to live in Russia, you have to, I guess you do. And everyone was playing games and behaving like idiots in Radhakund. And diving in and all sorts of pranks. So when Prabhupada heard about this, he was very upset. The devotees were, disrespecting in a sense Radhakund. So he said no more. But it was based upon the misbehavior, not the correct behavior. If the devotees had gone there and respectfully bathed, honorably, he probably would have said nothing. But because of that, he said no more. That tendency is there. But it's not a written in stone order. And the general principle is one takes the blessings of one's guru, and not just upon oneself. Even Mahaniti Maharaj recommends that. And he's not a member of ISKCON, but he lives at Radhakund, and he was, of course, in ISKCON fully. But that's his recommendation. It's a general principle. Same thing with worship and Shila or deities, etc. And he wanted his disciples to follow that principle, just taking drops. Ordering them never to place their feet in Radhakund. He recommended to instead become Sarvatma Snapanam, fully immersed in the Radhakunda of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The Radhakunda of nectar of devotion in service. Yet in 1935 on Bahulashmi, which he recognized, as the anniversary of the appearance of Radhakund. After performing Sankirtan and Pratama on Radhakund with accompanying disciples, he bathes therein. Notice, after performing Sankirtan. So we didn't hear, but we heard about eligibility for Harinam. After performing Sankirtan, then he bathes. When asked if the Radhakund referred to in Sri Upadeshamrita was geographical or pardon? Ostensive. Isn't it? But it's simply imitation. You know, you get imitation Rolex watches, imitation Croc shoes, imitation just about anything, some designer T-shirts or something. They look like it, but they're not the real thing. Although, and then he quotes, although there are some good people in Brajamandal, most who pride themselves on being Brajbasis and regard themselves as great devotees are preoccupied with engaging others to feed them fancy foods and worship their feet. Anyone who can feed them and please them with monetary gifts is acknowledged as a Vaishnava. Seeing that we do not souse, you look that one up too, S-O-U-S-E, souse. This is becoming addictive, isn't it? We can have a nose blowing session. Well, a 5-minute break for blowing the nose is okay. We can have nose kirtan. Souse, S-O-U-S-E, found it? S-O-U-S-E, souse. I think it means like a dip. To dip in. A dip in. S-O-U-S-E. Soak. To have a little dip, like a dip. Like a dip, you soak something in it, you dip something in it. So having a dip or a soak, soaking yourself in Radhakund, you know. Which hamstrings, you can look that one up too, which hamstrings the collecting of religious fees. And it means like maybe thwarts, impedes thwarts. Thwarts means. Look at that hamstring. Hamstring. Pardon? Yeah, hamstring. Yeah, but it has a meaning. It has a usage. Huh? Part of the muscular system of the body, but it has a particular colloquialism, something. Which hamstrings are collecting of religious fees. These putative buses broadcast. These people don't bathe in Radhakund or respect the venerable devotees like me. I see many of them. I like that, in a sense, even today. What kind of Vaishnavas are they? This person ought to say. Those who don't bathe in Radhakund, those who don't give them Some say that we are Arya Samajis, others that we are Brahmos, Christians, or whatever. That doesn't happen now. But it never enters their six skulls. The six skulls of these so-called Brajavasis, so-called Brajavasi Vaishnavas, that bathing in divine Radha is not possible with mundane, contaminated senses. Not possible. And thus not achieved by dunking and dipping, putting in, dunking a bag of bones and flesh. If they bathe in Radha without accepting the purport of Atak Shri Krishna Namadi Navadvaya Indrai, they will be deprived of Krishna's mercy. With these blunt material senses, nobody can perceive the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. Only through Shavanadi, the previous section on eligibility for Harinam, hearing and chanting of the holy name is the preparatory preparation, the full preparation to be qualified to approach the commenting on Srila Goswami's recommendations in Upadeshamrita to reside at and bathe in Radhakund, Srila Saraswati Thakur stated, a practical vast transcendental residence on the banks of prema-filled Radhakund and a transcendental bath in her waters, starting in the nectar of prema, means to become wholly aloof from all desires for material sense enjoyment, and up to the end of life to constantly perform manasa bhajan, deep meditation or worship, with one pointed submission to Srimati Radhika, and after shedding the mortal body to attain one's eternal spirit form, and intently perform direct eternal service to Srimati Radhika. One who actually bathes in Radhakund attains his topmost desirable boon. The one who bathes in this manner, which is mentioned. That's usually not the case of those who approach Radhakund or manifest uppercut manifest, or the uppercut form of Radhakund manifest form. Do not usually have that uppercut mentality, form of worship. It absolutely